So hi everybody, my name is Ananya Banerjee and thank you Delhi Food Walks for giving me this opportunity to talk about my favorite cuisine, my cuisine, to all of you and share few tidbits and details on the cuisine. So I am Chef Ananya Banerjee. I have written two cookbooks. My first book is Planet Gastronomy, 100 most popular global recipes. So after I wrote the first global cookbook, it has recipes from 60 different countries. My publisher wanted me to do a Bangla book because I am a Bengali. So this book happened, Bangla Gastronomy, the journey of Bengali food. So, and exactly that's the topic I am going to talk to you guys about. If there is a conversation, it's always about food, politics, football, and food taking the precedence. So when you hear that Bengalis live to eat like French, or Bengalis spend all their money and income on food, it's not wrong, it's a fact. So every morning it is a Bengali prerogative to go out in the market with a shopping bag, because the head of the family thinks that he only can get the best bargain, get the best fish. Now coming to fish, it's not as fishy as you think, because Bengal is got so many of rivers and lakes and fresh water, so fish is abundance in the place. So every household will have a pukur, which is like a little pond, and fishiculture is a must. So Mach Bhat is a staple. So, and we have so many different kinds of fish, and they are a little snooty about their fish, because I've heard all my life people saying that seafood or sea fish is not good. I used to wonder what is sea fish and seafood, because everything has to be freshwater fish for a Bengali household. After moving out of Kolkata, I realized that everyone else in the world have seafood or sea fish, and they are fantastic, no problem in that. So coming back to Bengali cuisine again, so it's not only Mach Bhat, we have fantastic range of vegetarian food also in our cuisine. So, and one particular thing I would like to say is nothing gets wasted in a Bengali kitchen. Like we use the peels, the stalks, the discards, the throwaways, so nothing gets wasted. And I can think of one thing, that Bengal has gone through some tough economic conditions once upon a time, and the ladies of the house, they never used to throw away anything. So everything was used up either in a, I'll give you one example. So with potato peels, we make alur khosha bhaja. With the lauki that we use, we make lau khosha bhaja. So nothing is wasted. All the peels we make bhartas of. We make chokhas, bhartas, you name it. So nothing is, even the fish head, we use it in our chochori or muri ghanto or chachra, things like that. So whatever is considered as discards in other kitchens, we use it. Nothing is wasted. So that's a great thing about Bengali food. And now just talking about a little bit on the styles, the techniques. So broadly, we have few broad styles, like it can be a jhol, a jhal, a chochori, a chechki, dalna, ghanto, kosha. So these are cooking techniques. So you can say, as for example, you can take a jhol. What is jhol? Jhol, after coming to Mumbai, I realized jhol is a bad word. It means some hera fairy happening. So this jhol is not anything to do with hera fairy. This jhol is a good jhol. This means the Bengali jhol is a watery concoction which you can make a niramish jhol, that means a vegetarian jhol, a macher jhol, which is with fish, a mangshor jhol, which is with meat. So jhol is a technique where you can substitute different vegetables, meat, fish, and make jhol of. Similarly, jhal. Jhal is a spicy, tikha things what we make with fish. So macher jhal is a very common example. Even we make in vegetarian, we make begun bori jhal. So that jhal also is a very common way to cook. Again, chhechki. Chhechki means a quick stir fry. So in chhechki, we predominantly use panch foron, which is a Bengali 5 spice, which has the 5 different spices, and we just saute it. So it can be kopi chhechki, which is cauliflower. It can be potol chhechki, which is parval chhechki. So similarly, I'm just trying to give you an example that the cooking techniques are such, but you can use as many vegetables, meat, fish, and make that particular style. Similarly, you can make kosha, you can make ghonto, you can make dalna. So it's that's the way it goes. Now I'll be taking all your questions because I'll do a small little recipe, and then I'll take all your questions, and I would love to answer all of it. So then little bit on other things which I can say about Bengali cuisine is the what do you call it, how it is served, the order of serving food. That's also very important. Why? Because like French, we also have food in courses. So rice is the common element, but things come into our plate in courses. So we start with bitter. So it has to be some kind of uche. Uche is Karela. Shukto. So I was told, I didn't like Karela at all in my childhood days, and I was told that you have to start your food with bitter because it induces some digestive juices and makes digestion easier. Now then after that you can start with ghee, then little dal and bhaja comes, then comes chokha, ghonto, dalna, then comes your mach and fish or meat curry. Then there is a palate cleanser, I would say. It's like a chutney or relish. Then the gorgeous roshogolla, shondesh, mishti doi happens at the end. So it's an elaborate affair, and it is always done in courses. That's also, and there's food for every occasion. For a Bengali, you know, there's a food for every single occasion. Starting from mukhe bhat. Mukhe bhat means when a child is born, the first rice that the child eats is celebrated in a grand way. So it's a rice eating ceremony, which is mukhe bhat, Annaprashan. Then there are special days like the son-in-law days. So you can impress your son-in-law by giving him Kobi Raji cutlet and Golda Chingri Malai curry, all these yummy stuff the son-in-law gets to eat. I wonder why there is no daughter-in-law day. And then so what I'm trying to say is there's food for every single occasion. So starting from your birth till your death. In between comes, say, a bachelorette. We have Ai Budo Bhat. A girl or a boy getting married will get a nice dinner from all the relatives before they change the marital status. Then there's pregnant ladies, they'll have something called shad, because shad also, that lady will be given a royal treat. Then so everything, and biye bari. Oh, biye bari means the marriage ceremony. Everyone flaunts the best of the cuisine during the marriage festivals, marriage ceremonies. Then comes the shrad. The final departed soul is given the food of his or her choice, so that, you know, it's kind of the end. So what I'm trying to say is from the beginning till the end, there's food for all occasions. So that's what should I talk about? I should talk about mishti. Mishti, Bengalis are sweet loving people. So you must be knowing about the Roshogolla controversy. I don't want to get into any controversy, but Bengal has started, Portuguese has taught Bengal how to make chena or queso fresco. So rest of India, when it was considered that chena, which means you split the milk, you spoil the milk to make chena, so it was considered not auspicious. It was not offered to gods or pujas. So Bengal started it by making Rasgulla, Sandesh, all the chena sweets. So and that has made Bengal, that has put Bengal in the culinary map of the world, I would say. So fantastic sweetmeats. And but surprisingly, if you want to know, that Bengalis don't make these kind of sweets at home, because there's every corner, every nook and corner, there is one sweet shop. So you can just go and buy your Rasgulla or Sandesh or Chom Chom or Kheer Kadumbo, all that stuff, good stuff. So you don't need to make it at home. Only during lockdown, now I thought that I have to make each and every sweet, whatever I've eaten since my childhood. So I've been making Rasgulla, I think, every other day. Before that, I did not need to, I did not have to, because it was so readily and easily available. But I should talk about Pithe Puli. See, these are commercial sweets which the shops have, or commercially it is sold. But Pithe Puli are the homemade sweets which the grandmothers used to make, and it's during the harvest season, using the rice, newly harvested rice and coconut and Nolen gur. Nolen gur is also something which I need to talk. This is the date palm jaggery from Bengal, what you get. The flavors are so amazing. I think it can put maple syrup to a shame. I'm biased. So, no, sincerely, I mean, I truly believe that. Such wonderful aroma Nolen gur has, that is fantastic. It's liquid gold, I say. I use it on my pancakes, I use it on my flans, and I use it as on my traditional stuff also. So it's liquid gold. So that's Nolen gur, and you get patali, which is the solidified form which you can make sweets with, and the flavor is amazing. If you guys have not tried, please go and try. But it's only found during winter months. So one more ingredient which I really love is Gandharaj Lebu. Although it's quite hyped, quite talked about, but that flavor is so amazing. That lebu, that it's a lime, it's a huge big size lime, and it's not very juicy, but the flavors what comes out from Gandharaj is so good. Gandho means aroma, and it's Raj means it's the Raja of flavors. Yeah. And then some more ingredients if I have to talk about is Gobindo Bhog Chal, which is that's a typical short grain aromatic rice we use in our food. So the list can go endless, and I can talk I think endlessly on this cuisine. It's very close to my heart. And before that, let me take some questions if you have, and then I show you the recipe. So I have Sorse Bata. Now how do I get Sorse Bata? So these are the two kinds of mustard I'm using, the yellow mustard and the brown mustard, regular rye. Yeah, so these two, and posto. Okay, posto is another ingredient I have to talk about, because this posto can make any Bengali go weak in their knees, because they love posto. Posto is poppy seeds. Poppy seeds, jo it's from that plant afim. So posto or poppy seeds, it's khaskhas in Hindi. So it is made into a paste, and we use it in all forms. We just we grind posto, add a little mustard oil, green chilies, salt, and have it with garam bhat. That also is yum. And we have aloo posto. We have all kinds of posto. If you can ask me, there are 50-60 varieties of posto preparations only, and I can have this every day. And you know, best part is it induces sleep. So after posto, you can aram se go to sleep. So anyway, so today's dinner, if you make this, you'll have a good night's sleep. So, so what I have done here, I have taken two kinds of mustard and posto, which is khaskhas, and soaked it for 15-20 minutes. And after soaking it for 15-20 minutes, I've ground it with 2-3 green chilies and a bit of salt. Just ground it to a fine paste like this. Can you see? So this is the paste I'll be using for the shoshe bata, or the then have taken some grated coconut, which I'm going to use. So starting the dish, guys, I've taken a bowl. I've taken some prawns, regular small size prawns, whatever is there in your fridge, you can use it. This was lying in my freezer, so I'm using this. Nothing fancy. In fact, the size is quite small. You can go a little bigger if you want. You can go a little bigger, but these are the small size prawns. I'm using little haldi powder to the prawns and some salt to taste. Give it a good mix. Small size prawns. And I told you how I made the sarson ka paste. That has, let me tell you once again, I've used khaskhas, I've used the black mustard or rye, and the yellow mustard. So these three, with a little bit of salt and green chili, I've made a paste. So this paste I'm going to add to the prawns. Let me show you. So the paste of the mustard, two kinds of mustard, khaskhas and green chili salt, has gone into the prawns. I'll add some grated coconut. I think this is the world's easiest recipe, if you ask me, because you are actually not cooking. Just see what I'm doing. So my coconut has also gone into this. I'll add some mustard oil, because mustard oil is quintessentially Bengali. So I'm using some mustard oil in this. Yeah. And this I'll just cling wrap. Use a cling wrap. Cling wrap and put it in the micro for 2 minutes. Guys, if you don't want to use a microwave, what you can do is you can set a steamer and you can wrap it in an aluminium or a steel katori, cover it and steam it for about 20 minutes. Or you can also use a pressure cooker. Inside the pressure cooker, set a steamer up, put water below, and then on a stand put a dabba. You fill this with that prawn, and then without the whistle, just steam it for say 20 minutes. You'll get the perfect prawn. I'm using a microwave. It'll take me 2 minutes. So that was the easiest recipe possible, and the same recipe you can make other fish also. If you don't want to use prawn, I had prawns at home, lockdown period. I'm using whatever there is in my pantry. So if you have any other kind of fish ready with you, you can just marinate the same way. Add haldi, salt, coconut, mustard paste, two types of mustard, and posto or khaskhas paste. Apply it, put it in a steamer or put it in a microwave. Your shoshe mach or shoshe prawn will be done. Just look at this. If you can see, It's wonderfully cooked. Prawns doesn't need any time to cook. It's in fact, if you cook prawns for a long time, it becomes chewy and rubbery, which you should not. So this is absolutely fine. You can just drizzle a little bit of mustard oil on top, and my dinner is ready. You can make your dinner with the same recipe and let me know how it comes. If you like a little spicy food, you can add some green chilies also while you're microwaving. I forgot to add that, now I'm adding, because I like green chilies in my food. So that's about it. Such a simple recipe. You must all try and let me know how it came. Thanks for watching me today, and thanks Delhi Food Box, because you've given me a nice platform to talk about my favorite cuisine. I am Ananya Banerjee, signing off now. I had great time talking about Bengali food and being with you and chatting with you.